Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. Let's get this work done here. We're talking about numerical and algebraic expressions. And what that means is we're taking expressions and we're writing them as words, or we're taking words and we're writing them as expressions. So we're going to go both ways, back and forth through in this group of questions here to make sure we know what we're doing. So we're starting with being given words so that we can write either an algebraic or numerical expression. Now, that means, for example, in example 1, you're looking, I think the key word that you can probably tell is product, and that means you're multiplying. So you have to multiply 3 and a number in. Now, that could mean a lot of things. You are probably traditionally used to, in grade school, seeing something like this. Now that's not wrong. The trick to that, the reason why we try to get away from that is once we get into algebra, we start using the letter X to describe something that is unknown. And so what you probably found eventually is that your teacher stopped using that and started doing things like this, 3 and then the little dot for multiplied by n instead. And that's not wrong either. That's closer. But just to make it short and sweet, eventually we get to the point where we just say, forget the sign, we are going to squish the 3 and the n together, we're just going to call it 3n and we're going to be done with it. And that is probably the best way to write the answer to this question. It's definitely the fastest, and so that seems like a pretty good reason to use it in and of itself. All right, you get to example number 2, 7 more than a number. More than means we're going to add to it. So you're going to take your original number, you're going to add 7 to it. So if I had $10 and then I was able to get 7 more. Now I would have 7 more than 10, which would be 17. So, in this case, it just said a number. It didn't say X, it didn't say N, it didn't say anything. We are going to use whatever we want, I guess. I'm going to choose X because it's the most common. But you can really use whichever one you want. It doesn't really matter. If you have a teacher that has a preference, I would probably go with their preference just to make sure you don't rock the boat or anything. But in this case, I'm going to say my number is X, and I want 7 more than that number. So I'm going to go X plus 7. Now that's just me. Some people, when they see a number, they want to use N because N is for number. I don't know, it's all good. The difference of 10 and 7. Now we're talking about subtraction. And subtraction is the most commonly missed type of problem whenever I'm teaching numerical and algebraic expressions. And the reason is order is very important. If I give you 2 plus 3 and 3 plus 2, you get the same answer. But if I give you 3 minus 2 and 2 minus 3, you get a different answer. So now for the first time, order is essential. So on example 3, when it says the difference of 10 and 7, you could just take the 10, take the 7, keep it in the same order, and put a minus sign in between. The difference of 10 and 7. 10 minus 7. That is true. But when you get to example 4 and you get 5 less than a number j, a lot of people right away are going to just glance at it and they're going to say, oh, well, 5 minus j. And that is definitely not going to get you the right answer. And it all comes back to that money example from before. If I have $20 and you have 5 less than me, you have $15. 20 minus 5. It's not 5 minus 20. So if you have 5 less than 20, it's not 5 minus 20, it's 20 minus 5. So using that same logic, we need to make sure we switch it up here and we call it j minus 5. Okay, so that's the one that people mess up the most. I'm just trying to warn you. That's why I put it in the examples. It's because I don't want to see that mistake made too much. All right, let's switch this up a little bit and make some words out of this. Most students, when you get example number 5, they're just going to take the cop-out and they're just going to say 3 plus 5. Okay, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I think we can do better. I think we can work on some other vocabulary here. Whenever you're adding two numbers together, you get a sum. So personally, I think it would be better to write the sum of 3 and 5. Because that word sum, as soon as you see it, right away we're grouping the 3 and the 5 together with addition. Now, I'm not saying that first example is wrong. I'm not saying 3 plus 5 is an incorrect way of writing it. I'm just telling you that if it's me personally, I like looking for those terms such as sum and difference and product. I think those are valuable. Or in this next case, same idea. If you write x divided by 8, you're not wrong. I'm not mad at you for putting it that way. But I think it would be really good to demonstrate some vocabulary here. And so in this case, I would say the quotient of x and 8. So again, you want to go with the preference of a teacher here, whatever your teacher wants to see. That's what you need to be working on. You need to make sure you're getting used to the expectations here. Example 7, just another one that's kind of like that. You could just say 4 times x, but I think it would be better if we wrote it sort of like we did on example number 1, where it was given to us like this, the product of 3 and a number n. I think it's nice to kind of model after the original expectation. I think it's good to do it the same way here. So I'm just going to steal that language, and I'm going to say the product of 4 and x. Now, some books it's going to say a number x. Some it's just going to say x. I've never really seen a big issue either way with that. Example number 8 here, the last one. This one is going to be tricky because there are a couple different things going on. X is being multiplied by 5, but then we are also going to add 2 to that final result. So I think the best way to do it would be to make sure you throw in a word like product to make sure that you know that the 5 and the x are being multiplied together first. So I think the best way to go would be to maybe steal the language we used in example number 2, where it says more than. So let's just go with 2 more than, and then make sure you put the 5 and the x together with a product. So 2 more than the product of 5 and x. That's what I would do. You're not wrong if you do it differently necessarily, but that's the direction I would want to take it. All right, last 2 examples. The rental car company is charging $35 per day. Write an algebraic expression to describe it. Well, $35 per day means after 1 day it's $35. After 2 days it would be 35 times 2, 35 times 3, all that. So you're taking the number of days and you're multiplying it by 35. So in this case, I'm just going to use the variable d to describe this just because it said days. Per day, it seems like an easy choice, so that's what I'm going to go with. I'm just going to say $35 per day, so 35d. Your cost is going to be 35 multiplied by the number of days. Okay. Now this last example here, you have $20 and you spend X dollars at the store. So now you started with $20 and then you're going to take away the amount of money you spent. So it's 20, but then you have to take away how much you spent. So that's going to be subtracting X. So starting amount minus the amount of money you spent should give you that final amount. All right, I hope that helps you get started on your assignment. Good luck the rest of the way.